Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about exactly how to help your child sleep a straight 6 to 8 hours overnight so that you can sleep a full 7 to 9 hours and really get the sleep that you need after all of the holiday chaos. So I am going to start sharing my screen so that we can get into it. Let's see. Okay, so right now you should be able to see everything. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about how to help your baby sleep a solid 6 to 8 hours of sleep straight by this weekend. At the time of this recording, it is Wednesday, the 14th of January. So, by Saturday night, you could have your child sleeping a solid 6 to 8 hours. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. So, the first thing that we need to think about is what is your ideal sleep situation? What do you actually want your child to be able to do? Is it that they are crying a long time at bedtime and you want them to be able to calm themselves down and fall asleep without any assistance and without any tears? Is it that they fall asleep relatively easily, but then they are waking up every 60, 90 minutes, 2 hours, and it's a really hard time for you to get them back to sleep? Maybe their overnight sleep is fine, but the daytimes are killing you because they will not nap. And it's just creating one extra long day where you are trying nap after nap after nap and it's not working. So, let's get into what is that ideal sleep situation? What do you actually want for your child to be able to do? So in the middle here, I just put to have a baby that consistently sleeps 7 to 9 hours straight overnight so that you can get a solid 6 to 8 hours, which is what your body actually needs. No one is meant to be perpetually exhausted. It is not good for you. It is not good for your immune system. It is not good for your memory. It is not good for building memories with your little one because you're going to be in this sleepless fog and never really know what's happening and be able to be fully present with them. So we want your baby to be able to sleep that solid 7 to 9 hours so you can get that solid 6 to 8 hours that you need as well. So there's a couple of different things that typically come up as the reason why parents are feeling like this can't happen for us. This is just not a possibility. I talked to a mom yesterday and she told me I have just accepted this as my fate. I just don't think that I have a good sleeper and I don't think that he will ever be a good sleeper. And I really that struck me because I don't want anyone to feel like this is it. This is what I have to live with. That is not true at all. We can make changes. It is never too late to make changes to your little one's sleep habits. But we kind of have to overcome some of the reasons why a lot of parents are standoffish or a little bit worried about making those changes. The biggest three reasons I see why parents don't make these changes for their little one is because they're nervous that their baby will cry. They are nervous that they're not sure what to do. They're just not really sure, like, how do I make this change for my little one? And they're worried that it won't work. I'm going to go through all of these things, but nothing is going to change. So, we're going to talk about all of these three things today so that you can overcome them and not be worried about any of them. So, you can actually make the changes that you were wanting to make for your little one. So, we have to have a rest ready mindset, knowing our baby will cry. That is inevitable when we're making any changes. And we actually will talk about in a second why you actually want your baby to cry. It is actually a good thing. We'll talk about what to do if you feel like you don't know what to do. And that sleep solutions pathway, how to get the exact steps that works for your child, because you may have done this before, but you've never done it this way. That's actually going to get you seeing the results you want by Saturday night. And then for the families that are worried that it won't work because they travel, because their little one gets sick and everything goes crazy, we're going to talk about the flex and flow framework because these are babies we're talking about. They are not robots. Every night will not be the same. We can't expect them to always have the same results, but we can learn how to flex and flow so that your child is still able to be a good sleeper no matter where you are, no matter what your days look like, no matter if they're sick or not. we can still consistently have a baby that is sleeping 7 to 9 hours, ideally sleeping 11 to 12 hours overnight. So the first thing in my Goodnight Baby program that I talk about with my one-to-one clients, is the crying hierarchy. Because again, the crying is always the biggest thing that moms are worried about. They don't want their babies to be left alone and crying. So we have to understand that cry it out is different from sleep training. They are not the same thing. Cry it out is a method of sleep training, but is not the only method of sleep training. But we also have to acknowledge that crying is going to happen while your little one is learning a new skill. It's going to be difficult for them. One random day, you're going to change up bedtime and you're going to change up how you approach them overnight. So they are going to cry because they're not really sure what to do. And that's their only way to communicate with us. So we have to understand, what are these different cries saying? There's going to be a cry that's kind of more of a whine that's like, I'm not really loving this. And then there is going to be a range all the way up to, I'm super upset, come and help me. So in the program, it walks you through what are the 3 different levels of crying during sleep training, and what do I do during each of these 3 levels. So you feel comfortable and confident to know, when my baby does this, this is exactly what I do. And at no point are you feeling like you're just leaving them to figure it out on their own and they're sobbing uncontrollably without you being able to support them. It used to be, even my what was I going to say? Pediatrician told me when my oldest son wasn't sleeping well, just figure it out. Let him cry in his crib and he'll figure it out. That is what, unfortunately, a lot of parents are being told, and it just doesn't work. So you're left with this in between of, I either let my baby cry it out or I don't sleep ever again. And there is so much in that middle ground that we have to figure out. So that crying hierarchy is going to give you the exact tools to know when to step in, what to do when you step in, and when to hold back. The next thing is the regulation protocol, because how you are feeling has a big impact on how your little one is going to feel. We are all still very primitively set and believe that if we are worried, there is danger. There is a lion coming. Something is about to attack us. So we really have to recognize, okay, if I'm feeling super anxious and worried, my baby is also going to feel that. And they're going to not sleep because they're thinking, we're in danger. I don't know why mom and dad is upset. I can feel their anxiety. And I know, okay, I need to be anxious too. And it's not a good time for me to sleep. I need to be on constant alert. So, really knowing, okay, this is what I need to do in order to be ready to put them to bed, in order to be ready to sleep train them, is going to be a huge step in this so that we can have a good bonding and relationship. You want your child to be able to feel safe and secure with you, but we also want them to be able to have the self-soothing skills, because we unfortunately can't be with our children 24 hours a day. And I would never want my babies to feel like they have to be with me in order to feel safe and secure. I want them to have the confidence in themselves to know that I know how to help myself if I'm feeling worried, if I'm feeling scared, if I'm feeling nervous. So really instilling that in them, that yes, I am here 1000% to support you, but I'm also going to help you learn how to support yourself, is so, so huge and an essential part of parenting, because we can't always be there to help them. We cannot be there for them 24/7. It's just not realistic. So really having this rest ready mindset is one of the first steps, and why I start with this, because this is kind of one of the easier things to do. It's something that's all for the parents. You're not actually doing anything with your little one yet until you understand this piece. And then we move on to the big guns, which is the sleep solutions pathway, the actual step by step that's going to tell you everything you need to know to help your little one be able to fall asleep independently and sleep for that consistent 7 to 9+ hours overnight. So a plan, you have to have a plan. There is never a time where you can just get in your car, know, okay, I want to go to this destination, and just start driving. You don't do that. You turn on a GPS, you find the fastest way from where you are to where you want to get. And that is why you need a plan when you're sleep training. You cannot just hope for the best and say, I'm going to wing it and see what happens. You have to have a plan, but you also have to have a plan that works for you. Online, there are so many generic plans that will tell you have your baby wake up at this time, have them go to bed at this time, but there's always something in the back of your mind saying, well, we can't do it this time. We can't do it this way. That doesn't work for their swim lessons. That doesn't work for older siblings pickup time. So learning how to adjust here is kind of the bones of the schedule and what your child needs to be successful with sleep, how often they need to be sleeping, how long they need to be sleeping. But we need to know how to adjust that as well, because in that flex and flow framework as well, there has to be some flexibility. There's not always going to be a perfect time where they're going to be able to sleep. There are doctor's appointments. There are lunches that you want to go to. There are day trips that you want to take, all of those kinds of things. So you really need to be able to have a plan that works for you and your family. And that's where a lot of families fall off, is they're trying to follow these generic plans online that aren't actually tailored to you and your little one, which gives you the no guesswork support. You really want to be able to say, what do I do now? Not having someone that you can connect with does get problematic when something comes up that's not in those plans. Because again, babies are not robots and things are going to come up that you were not expecting. So having this no guesswork support is really going to be the difference maker when you can say, this just happened. What do I do? I have a family that I'm working with right now. Their little one is 4 months old, and she woke up early this morning and then took a little while to get back to sleep. So they said, this is what time she woke up. Oh, actually, she didn't fall asleep then. She actually fell asleep here. What do we do now? There was no trying to figure out, okay, maybe should we still do nap at this time? Should we do it at this time? Do we push it back? Do we move it earlier? There was no guesswork support. They told me exactly what happened. I told them what to do next, and they could implement it. I'm not a fan of math. I'm not a fan of trying to constantly figure things out over and over. So if you just know I can go to someone, ask them, and get my answer and know what to do next, it takes so much off of your chest. I want to make your life easier, not harder. Sleep training should not involve a ton of math. It shouldn't involve a ton of like counting on your fingers, figuring out what to do day by day. We want to make this as easy as possible so that you can get more sleep. And the last piece of it is a Sleep Made Easy system. So this is the actual day one. This is what you do. This is what you stand. This is what you say. There are 2 options inside of the Goodnight Baby program that gives you step by step. Night 1, do this. Night 2, do this. And there's 2 different methods because, like I said, each family is different. And one of the options is going to be the best one for you. I'm going to tell you a little secret about sleep training. There are many different methods of sleep training. Doesn't matter at all which method you choose. They all work. Doesn't matter which one you pick. What doesn't work is if you pick a method that does not feel good for you, that you cannot consistently follow. I have had so many families come to me and said, we've tried sleep training before. It didn't work for us. I asked them, how long did you try it? And they say, a night or 2. That doesn't work. We need that consistency piece, at least 10 days of consistent planning, of consistent implementing the strategies so that your little one can understand what's happening and then be able to jump on board. Because if you just do something one random night and then never do it again, of course they're not going to be able to learn that skill. So you really need that consistency and to know if and when things go wrong, I follow the plan and do what it tells me. That's when I'm going to see the changes. So really having that plan and following it step by step, day by day, being able to ask questions as other things come up is essential to being able to have your child sleep that 7 to 9 plus hours overnight. And then we get into kind of the nitty gritty of the flex and flow framework. I don't know why I made these so hard to say. So that's shame-free zone. If you've ever done sleep training before and it hasn't worked, if you ever ended up co-sleeping when you didn't want to, if you ever ended up holding your baby all night, bringing them down to the couch, whatever it is, we let go of that. That no longer matters. We have a shame-free zone where we understand we had to do what we had to do in order to be able to sleep through the night, in order to be able to be a functioning adult for the next day. So we let that go. I talked to a mom yesterday that I had worked with when her daughter was a newborn. She's now 2 years old. And she said some things fell off. She got pregnant. She was really exhausted. Her husband was working a lot, and things just kind of slowly fell apart. And she was feeling really guilty that we had worked together, we had her daughter on an amazing schedule, and that was no longer the case. It doesn't matter. We are always able to start fresh. We are always able to start new. So know that whatever you have done before to kind of get into this situation doesn't matter. Now you are making the conscious commitment to change your child's sleep habits and get to a place where it's working for the entire family. Because travel will happen, illness will happen, teething will happen, but we have to know exactly what to do in those instances so that we can get back on track after. Even today, we're talking about how to get back on track after holidays. That's super important because holidays are going to happen every single year, possibly multiple times a year. So we can't just anticipate, okay, there's going to be another holiday in a couple of months. I'm just not going to do anything. We're not going to sleep until then. We have to know, okay, we can still enjoy our holiday. We can travel. We can get off schedule. But I know what to do to get back to that after it is all done. And then the last piece are the realistic goals and expectations, because we have to know our little one will not always sleep amazing. They are going to get sick. When we travel, things are going to get off, but we know that's okay because I know how to get back on track. So, thinking about how to get back on track after the holidays, we have to, depending on your child's age, go back to before when they were sleeping well. In the case that your child was never sleeping well, ignore what I'm about to say because it's not going to apply. But if they were sleeping well before the holidays and things fell apart, we have to go back and say, okay, what was I doing then that I wasn't doing now? Did I slowly let them start staying up later and sleeping in my bed because that was the easiest thing at the time? Then we have to go back to whatever that schedule was before and whatever boundaries you had in place and start to implement those again. It is going to be difficult in the beginning because they're going to have gotten used to this new flow of whatever you have been doing, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. That does not mean that you are not able to get back on track to have your baby sleeping through the night again. It's so much more difficult when your child was sleeping through the night and then no longer is sleeping through the night than if if they've never been sleeping through the night, because you know that you have a good sleeper, you know that it's in there, but then we have to get that back. So looking at what they were doing before the holidays, if they were a good sleeper, getting them back onto that same schedule that you had them on before. If they have now grown and maybe they were 4 months then and now they're 6 months now, they may need a new schedule. So looking at what is an appropriate schedule for their actual age. At 6 months old, children typically are ready to transition onto 2 naps. So it may be time for them to extend their awake window to go down to 2 naps. And that's going to be what's going to make the difference. So really looking at looking at what was our schedule when things were working and what do I need to re-implement, and then looking at what is their age now and do I need to make any changes based on their new age. And then the third thing that we're going to look at is how are they actually falling asleep? What is happening when they are falling asleep? Are they needing a lot of support? Am I holding them, rocking them, feeding them, driving them around to get them to sleep? Or are they, once I put them into the bassinet or crib, are they falling asleep immediately? Which is a very telltale sign that they are going in too drowsy and not actually using any skills to get themselves to sleep. And if any of those things are happening that I just listed out in number 3, where you're using a lot of support to help them to sleep, this is where this framework comes in, because this is what we need to do and change in order for them to be able to learn how to fall asleep on their own. Children that need a lot of support to fall asleep are not going to know what to do when they wake up in the middle of the night. they're going to need that same support they had when they fell asleep in order to be able to get themselves back to sleep when they wake up. So really looking at, okay, how much support are they needing? Are they taking a full 5 to 15 minutes to fall asleep once I put them into the crib and walk out of their room? Do they need me to stay in the room with them and rub their back until they fall asleep? And that's where a lot of parents get confused. That's where a lot of parents don't go wrong, but they're feeling like, okay, bedtimes are easy. It's really the overnights that are the problem. But if bedtimes are too easy, that's what's leading to the harder overnights. So if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like I'm not sure where my next step is, I know that I need to make this change, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to go from here. And the Goodnight Baby Sleep program is going to get you the sleep that you have been looking for. Because the first thing that we're going to go do is go over the environment and the routine. We're going to make sure that this routine is actually working for you. No matter if you work late nights, maybe your spouse works late nights, you have super early mornings, you have a long commute to drop them off at daycare. No matter what is going on, we're going to find a way to optimize your routine so there is space for your child to fall asleep and to stay asleep the amount that they need for their body. Then we're going to walk you through your personalized sleep training method, which is going to have you, if you started today, sleeping through the night by the weekend or in 5 days from when you start. This is really the meat and potatoes of it, which is going to give you exactly what you do for your baby, for their age, for their whatever they're needing to fall asleep, whatever is happening when they're waking up overnight. You are going to get the exact steps to be able to help them learn how to fall asleep on their own so they can put themselves back to sleep when they wake up. Because nobody in the world actually sleeps through the night. Every single one of us wakes up overnight, but we as adults have the sleep skills to be able to get ourselves back to sleep. So we want your baby to learn how to do the same thing. And then we're going to get into actually enjoying your days. How do we get some flexibility? How do I go for a stroller walk and either make it their nap time or make it a fun enjoyable bonding time for us? How do we go to the playground around nap times or go to library groups? So many families tell me, I really want to go to mom groups, go to library groups, but it's during baby's nap time and I don't know how to make both work. This way we can get to, okay, what do you actually want your days to look like? What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be? And then make that work for your family, because we don't always have to like shut everything down once you have a baby to make their sleep work. We want their schedule and your schedule to be able to work together. But the difference is you're going to have support through the entire time to make this a reality. So I'm going to stop sharing. If anybody has any questions, you were able to answer them. I wanted to leave a little bit of time at the end. If you're watching the replay to this, then you can send me an email. In the email, I'm going to map out exactly how to reach out to me to answer your personal questions or to join the program so that you can be sleeping by the weekend.